Okay, so a couple of you jumped in my inbox because of the last post that I had just made, pretty much about the student. Let me make sure that my music isn't too loud. Pretty much about the student loan post that I made. So, yes, I did say that. I did state that in my last post that there are a lot of people in credit repair that push having items deleted, what they can remove, what they can remove, what they can remove. But the other information that is not being shared with many of you is, yes, stuff from your credit report can be removed, right? It's a report. All right. So it can be removed, but if the debt, if you know you went to college and paid a 4-year education and you got, $50,000 or $100,000 from student loan, then that is your debt. You owe that debt. Can that debt not show up on your credit report? Yes. But do you still actually owe the debt itself? Yes, you do. You still owe whoever your student loan is through. It's several different agencies, but you still owe that debt unless you work out with them or your company, your job, somebody pays for it. I mean, there are corporations that will buy your debt, will buy your student loan debt, especially like if you're an attorney, if you're a teacher, if you're in education. A lot of people's companies may offer to pay your debt. You know what I'm saying? Or you can even contact the companies directly and do some type of consolidation. But you still owe the debt itself. This is the thing, and this is what I don't like, that's misleading, when you have these different people who, jump in these different businesses to make money. Make money, but you also need to be educating people properly. So that's my thing is, and it's a reason. So in the post that I just made, I pretty much was stating, credit repair people get on here all the time and say how stuff can be removed without telling people what the real process is. So yes, it can be removed, but that's not going to stop the Navient from calling your phone and asking for their money or wanting you to set up a payment arrangement with them. Now, what are some of the benefits to doing that? And yeah, y'all got me on here twice today. I done jumped on twice today for y'all. Let me just say that, cause but what are the benefits of doing that, right? So, prime example, I had a client who had a large student loan debt, right? It was really affecting them and how they were getting approved for things because they went to this huge Ivy League school and had like maybe $150,000, $200,000 in student loan debt alone. Now, for those of you in real estate, you know that that's an issue. If you have a client that comes in with that kind of debt, because that can affect their debt to income ratio, that can affect their mortgage payment, that can affect them for getting a house at all, right? So sometimes people will have things removed or cleared up off of their credit just so it doesn't stop you in life. You know what I mean? So like when with student loan debt, if it's removed from your credit report, it's not like the companies are going to go and do research and see, do you owe Navi and do you owe this student loan? You know what I'm saying? So on paper, you look good. So a lot of people do it because they know it's temporary. And a lot of that stuff is temporary, depending on how people dispute it. When you know better, you do better. Back in the day, especially with some of us black and brown people, love to do stuff just the quick way without really doing it. So everybody want to do these sweeps, or you want to get these bogus, police reports and say everything that was on your credit report was fraud or stuff like that. When you dispute credit that way, it comes back. 9 times out of 10, it's going to come back. There is a legal way to dispute debt legally and have it come off and stay off. That's the difference in the process. So you got some people that promote, I can remove your credit, I can do this, I can do that with your credit. But if you're going to pay them $2,500 for a sweep, and then 6 months later, all that stuff is right back on there, that's not beneficial for you. Now, unless in that 6 months, you done flipped your credit, you done did what you needed to do with your finances to, if it's worth paying something like that, to do what you need to do in that moment. But majority of you are paying that kind of money to people and you're not really seeing the benefit or the long-term benefit from it. Again, when you know better, you do better. Even when I started into credit 12 years ago, I was doing credit sweeps with filing the police report and putting it on there and saying that. But I learned that that's not the proper way to do things. That's not the real way to handle your business. Now, again, that loophole, right? That loophole with removing debt from your credit so that way you can do things. Same way with buying a car. When you want to go buy a car, if you got, student loan debt, bankruptcies, foreclosures all on there, right? That affects your credit score. That's going to affect you trying to buy a car. That's going to affect you trying to get a credit card, anything. So if those items are removed from your credit report, when that credit card company runs your TransUnion and they can't see that you got $100,000 worth of student loan debt, or that you had a foreclosure, or that you had a, what else is something that's on your credit in, foreclosures, a repo. Prime example, let's say you had a repo. You had some issues a couple of years ago. You had a repo on your credit. Now you want to go get another car. Well, the moment you go get a car today and they see that repo, your interest rate is going to be crazy, especially if your credit score is not over 700. So what some people will do is get credit repair, get items removed off of their credit. So that way, when the credit companies, run you, they don't see that. They don't see that. Plus your score shoots up once those bad debt accounts come off, once collection accounts come off, once public record accounts come off, your score shoots up, especially with public records. Like if you get bankruptcies, repossessions, judgments removed, a lot of times you see 100+ point increase. So somebody with a 600 credit score now is at a 700 because those items got removed. Now you could go get your car. But now that you got your car, a couple of months later, that stuff may pop back up. That's the difference from doing, doing it and then doing credit and then educating your people properly. You should be letting people know, if you are in credit repair, you should be letting people know that yes, you are removing the item off the credit report because it's a piece of paper, but the debt itself is still owed. So when people are still getting phone calls from the lender, whether it's Navient, like I said, whoever your student loan is through, then you know what I'm saying? Then they calling you like, well, why am I still getting this, or why am I still getting that? Because I used to deal with a lot of people who came from people who was doing those credit sweeps. And they were like, damn, I just paid $2,500 or I paid $3,000 and now everything is back on my credit report. Well, because that person did not explain to you what the hell they were doing. And that's what a lot of people are doing. If you paying somebody $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 in one whop, the majority of the time they are filing a bogus police report saying that all of this shit is fraud, and it's not, because you know damn well all that stuff in your credit report is not fraud. So they're going to remove it initially, but then once they go back and investigate and talk to these companies, and some of these companies y'all still paying. Like that's the other thing that be tripping me out when these people do that. Like you can't claim fraud on your car that you driving today. Silly. That makes no sense. But you don't know that because whoever is talking to you, they just trying to get this money out of you. They're not explaining to you that this not long term. This is a short term goal. And for me, even back in the day when I did the shit, when I didn't know no better and I was doing it, because somebody was like, yeah, this is how you do credit, before I really learned the process 10 years ago. Yeah, I was doing the credit report. I was doing that same way too when you don't know better. But come on, 10 years later and people still paying $2,500 for a sweep. Like, no, that's not the way to do it. And like I said, if you are going to spend that kind of money to do that, then you need to have a plan. You need to have an action plan, a goal. You trying to buy this house in January. You trying to get this car financed in January, February. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But if you a regular individual and you just want your credit clean and you want to be able to work on clearing up your credit legally and have those items disputed and removed permanently, it is a real process for that, you all. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a quick way. And like I said, for those of you who are in credit repair or talking to people, you need to be educating your people properly, because this is the problem and the misinformation that is always given, and why so many people stay down and don't really ever come up, because you only half giving people information just so you can make $1 instead of being honest. Because even back then, 12 years ago, when I knew that these people shouldn't have been doing we shouldn't have been doing a police report for some of those items, I still let them know this is temporary. This is temporary, and you need to have a plan why you doing it. You know, why do you want to do this? What is the reason? Are you trying to buy a house real quick? Are you trying to, get a car and not have no crazy interest rate? Like, it's reasons for everything, but it's also a process, and it's you know what I'm saying? It's also a process on how you do it. And for me, like, I don't know why all of a sudden this week I just been seeing all kind of posts with student loan deleted, pictures, and and I'm like, y'all not telling these people that this debt is still valid. Like, they still owe the debt. It doesn't show up on your credit report, but you still owe it. Do you guys get that? And that's with a lot of things. I saw somebody comment something. Recommendations. Actually, Mike, I am reopening up my credit repair agency because I got tired. A lot of my clients have asked me about it again. I quit doing credit for about 2 to 3 years. I stopped doing credit in like 2017 just because it's so much misinformation that when you do talk to somebody like this, some people don't get it. I'm not about to be arguing with nobody about facts that I know. Like, that's the difference from talking to somebody who don't know shit and just doing stuff out their basement to make money, and then talking to somebody like me who's been in financial services. Like, this is my background, this is my field. I'm not about to argue with nobody about what I know and what's facts versus what somebody doing to make a side hustle. So, and also with education, and part of this education and part of the Tax Cred Academy, that's the reason why I called it Tax Cred Academy, to put taxes and credit together. I am relaunching the credit repair agency. So I'm not launching it to the end of the month though. But if you want to keep up with me, Mike, or get on our email list and let us know, I probably will not even be promoting it on my page because I created a whole separate company entity LLC for it, and it's really gonna like run on auto, so you won't even really know I'm the owner, none of that stuff. I'm doing a whole different program. But at the end of the day, I just want you guys again to be knowledgeable. This is my second video on here today, and I had got a couple of inboxes from that last post that I had just made about the student loan thing. And so it's not just student loan, it's any debt that you technically still owe. Yes, you can damn near get anything removed. I had removed my whole bankruptcy off my credit report. You know what I'm saying? You can remove things. Yes, you can. That's not hard. You can remove things, but again, I just wanted you guys to be properly informed. Do not be misinformed that the debt is removed and think you don't owe it and never have to pay another dollar to that company again, especially when you're talking about loans. Now, collection accounts and stuff like that, that's different, because I always tell y'all, don't pay a collection, to always dispute it and make them validate the debt first before you ever pay a collection. That I do always say, because at that point, when you get to a collection agency, that's a third party. That's a middleman. If I can't pay Macy's the debt that I owe directly, why do I got to pay middleman funding? So it's more to that. Don't listen to all of this in one sound that I'm saying. It's a process to that. It's a reason why it's that way. But for me and any client that works for me, I always tell them to make the company validate the debt. Always make them always dispute it and validate the debt first before you ever pay a debt. And then you never pay a collection without getting it in writing from them that they will agree to remove it from your credit report. Because a paid collection is the same thing as a collection. Okay? So you out here paying a company $1,000 for a collection, and all they did was put on your credit report paid. But it's still in the negative area. It's still negatively affecting you. It's still hurting your credit score, whether it says paid or not. So we ain't paying nothing unless you agreeing to remove it. All right. That's a free tip, free gem. Again, I'm off of here today because I got stuff to do. But because I got a few of them inboxes, instead of typing everybody, I just decided to get on here and tell you what I was saying. You know what I mean? And anybody who want to say otherwise, you can go validate research. And let me tell y'all something too. Google is not king. All right. That's the reason why we have professions. That's why there is a thing called profession. That is a thing called expert. That's why you have attorneys, lawyers, accountants, bankers, financial people who do this all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason for that. We ain't just Googling shit. We have to actually read, study laws, even with taxes. When I'm reading and doing taxes and reading up on different expenses and things with y'all, I'm reading a 900-page publication on the IRS website. I'm not Googling shit. You know what I'm saying? So everything is not Googleable. Sometimes you need to actually listen and talk to a professional and not somebody that's just out here hustling. And y'all need to also know the difference from somebody who hustling and somebody who's really in business. Now, we all start somewhere, right? But it's a difference from somebody hustling credit repair and somebody who's really in business that's here to teach you and educate you. All right, I'm out. Patrice Stewart with the Tax Credit Academy. Follow me, like my business page. Share this post if it gave you some information. And if you need some other information, you also know how to contact me. Thank you. Good night.